The conference room at Morrison Associates smelled of leather and old money. My sister Jennifer sat across from me, her manicured nails drumming against the mahogany table. Mom occupied the head seat, her expression a mix of concern and something darker. "We're worried about you," Mom began, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "The past few months, you seem distant, confused." I took a sip of water. "I'm fine, just busy with work." Jennifer leaned forward, her diamond bracelet catching the light. "Work? That consulting thing from your apartment? You're 32, living like a college student. You drive a 10-year-old Honda that sounds like it's dying. You rent a studio apartment. Dad left us a fortune and you're living like you're broke." "I'm comfortable with my lifestyle," I said. Mom placed a folder on the table. "We've arranged for you to see Dr. Harrison Matthews. He's a renowned psychiatrist. Just a consultation." I flipped through the papers: psychiatric evaluation forms, competency assessment requests, legal documents with signatures already in place. "This seems extreme." "It's for your own good," Jennifer said. "We need to make sure you're capable of managing your portion of the estate." The evaluation was scheduled for Tuesday. Dr. Matthews' office was in Century City, sleek with panoramic views. The waiting room featured abstract art and soft jazz. Dr. Matthews was distinguished looking, with silver hair and designer glasses. He gestured to a leather couch as he settled into his chair with a notepad. "Your family is quite concerned about your decision-making capabilities," he began. "Tell me about your daily routine." I described my work, my habits, my quiet life. He asked about finances, relationships, future plans. The questions seemed innocuous, but I noticed how he framed certain things. "Do you feel your family understands you?" "Not particularly. We have different values." "And that bothers you?" "It is what it is." More scribbling. The session lasted 2 hours. He scheduled 3 more appointments over the next 2 weeks. By the 4th session, his questions had shifted. "Your sister mentioned unusual financial decisions, refusing to invest in the family's real estate ventures." "I have my own investment strategy." "Which is?" "Private." He set down his pen. "Your family wants to help you make better choices." "I don't need help." That's often what people say when they need it most. 2 weeks later, Mom called. "Dr. Matthews has completed his evaluation. We need to meet with the lawyers tomorrow." The second meeting at Morrison Associates included Jennifer, Mom, 2 attorneys I didn't recognize, and Martin Hughes, Dad's longtime estate lawyer. Martin looked uncomfortable, avoiding my eyes. Jennifer wore a burgundy Armani suit, practically glowing with confidence. One of the new attorneys, Bradford, opened his portfolio. "Based on Dr. Matthews' evaluation, we have concerns about your capacity to manage significant financial assets. We're proposing conservatorship. Your mother and sister would oversee your portion of the estate." I said nothing. Jennifer leaned back, smiling. "You'll have a monthly allowance. No stress about investments or financial planning." "How generous," I said quietly. "We're protecting you from yourself," Mom snapped. Martin finally spoke, his voice strained. "This is highly irregular. Your father's estate was very specifically structured." "Martin," Jennifer cut him off sharply. "The psychiatric evaluation gives us legal standing." I looked at Martin, really looked at him. He was sweating slightly, his jaw tight. Our eyes met. "I'd like to speak with Martin alone." Jennifer laughed. "Whatever you need to discuss can be said in front of family." "I'm requesting private counsel with my father's estate attorney. That's my legal right." Bradford nodded. "She's correct." "Fine." Jennifer stood. 5 minutes. The room cleared. Martin let out a long breath. "They don't know, do they?" I asked. He shook his head. "Your father was very specific about the offshore accounts. He set them up 15 years ago. Only you, me, and the Singapore management firm are aware they exist." "How much?" $470 million. The U.S. accounts total $80 million. They think that's everything. "And the structure?" "Irrevocable trust with you as sole beneficiary and trustee. Your mother and sister have no legal access. Your father designed it this way because he told me Jennifer had your mother's ruthlessness but none of her restraint. He worried about what would happen if they controlled everything." He was right to worry. Martin pulled out his phone, scrolling through emails. "I received a message this morning from the Singapore firm. They've been monitoring the situation and want to schedule a video conference. They're prepared to provide full documentation of the trust structure and your authority." "When?" "I told them I confirmed timing, but they're ready whenever you are." They've also prepared a complete audit of all your father's assets, including the domestic accounts your family believes they're entitled to manage. Schedule it for tomorrow, noon. This same conference room. And your family? Tell them it's a routine estate review. Let them think they've won. That evening, Jennifer called. Just checking on my poor, incompetent little sister. How are you handling everything? I'm processing it. Good. This will really simplify your life. Mom and I will handle everything. We're thinking a monthly allowance of $5,000. That should be plenty for your lifestyle. $5,000 from an $80 million estate. There are management fees, taxes, operational costs, but don't worry about it. She paused. We should discuss your living situation. We found a nice assisted living community in Pasadena, very upscale. You'd have your own room, scheduled meals, recreational therapy. Assisted living? I'm 32. For people with cognitive difficulties, age doesn't matter. Think of it as a fresh start. After she hung up, I sat in my small apartment, looking at the city lights through my single window. My phone buzzed with a text from Martin. Singapore confirms noon tomorrow. Sent full documentation. You'll want to review tonight. I opened my laptop and began reading through the files. My father had been meticulous. The offshore structure was a maze of legal entities, trusts within trusts, jurisdictional protections that would take teams of lawyers years to untangle. And at the center of it all, my name, my authority, my control. The next day, I arrived at Morrison Associates early. Martin was already there, setting up video conferencing equipment with careful precision. At exactly noon, Jennifer and Mom walked in, both dressed like they were attending a coronation. What's all this? Jennifer gestured dismissively at the screens. Routine compliance review, Martin said smoothly. The Singapore management firm requires verification of certain documentation. Mom settled into her chair with a sigh. This seems unnecessary. We already have Dr. Matthews' evaluation. Can't we just move forward? The screen flickered to life, revealing 3 people in business attire sitting in what was clearly a high-rise office overlooking Singapore's skyline. The woman in the center spoke first, her British accent crisp and professional. Good afternoon, I'm Victoria Chen, Senior Managing Director at Kingsley Trust Management. I'm joined by our Chief Legal Counsel and Head of Client Services. We're here to review the complete estate structure established by Mr. Robert Mitchell in 2008. Jennifer waved her hand dismissively. We're already aware of the estate details, $80 million in various accounts and properties, currently under review for conservatorship due to competency concerns regarding my sister. Victoria's expression didn't change, but there was something in her eyes. I'm afraid there's been a very significant misunderstanding. The domestic accounts you're referring to represent approximately 14% of Mr. Mitchell's total estate. The room went absolutely still. You could have heard a pin drop. Mom leaned forward sharply. What are you talking about? Robert's attorneys gave us a complete accounting of his assets. Everything was documented. You were given an accounting of his US-based assets only, Victoria said calmly. Mr. Mitchell maintained substantial holdings in offshore trust structures specifically designed for asset protection and long-term wealth preservation. These accounts were established with his daughter as sole trustee and beneficiary in 2008 when she was 17 years old. Jennifer's face went pale, all that burgundy suit confidence draining away like water. That's impossible. We would have known, he would have told us. Victoria nodded to her colleague, who began displaying documents on the screen, account statements, trust documents, signatures and dates spanning 15 years, and legal opinions from 3 countries. The primary offshore trust, established in Singapore with secondary structures in Switzerland and the Cayman Islands, currently holds $470 million across diversified investments, including commercial real estate, blue-chip equities, and venture capital positions. Your daughter has held full control and authority over these assets since the trust's inception, though the accounts were managed discreetly during your father's lifetime per his explicit instructions. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. $470 million? Additionally, Victoria continued, her tone professional but somehow final, the domestic accounts you've been discussing fall under a secondary trust structure, where your daughter serves as primary beneficiary and holds final approval authority over all distributions. The conservatorship petition you filed has absolutely no legal standing regarding any of these assets. Jennifer finally found her voice, but it came out panicked and thin. This is fraud. She must have manipulated him, taken advantage of his illness. Ms. Mitchell, Victoria's tone turned to ice. Your father was examined by 3 independent psychiatrists, including one from Johns Hopkins, before establishing these structures. All confirmed his complete mental capacity. Furthermore, he left detailed video testimony and written letters explaining his reasoning, which our legal counsel has prepared to share with you if necessary. Yes, I said quietly, speaking for the first time since the conference began. Please share them. Victoria's colleague brought up a scanned document on the screen, my father's handwriting, unmistakable and steady. Victoria read aloud. To my family, if you're hearing this, it means someone has attempted to contest the trust structures I've carefully created. I want to be crystal clear. These decisions were made with complete mental clarity and with counsel from the best legal minds money can buy. Jennifer, I love you, but you have your mother's tendency to see money as power and control, rather than responsibility and stewardship. I've provided for you both generously in the domestic accounts, but the bulk of my wealth goes to the daughter who never asked for it, never demanded it, never once tried to manipulate me for financial gain, and who I trust completely to use it wisely and well. Jennifer stood abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the polished floor. This is insane. You can't just, Mom, say something. Mom was staring at the screen, her face ashen, her carefully applied makeup suddenly garish against her pale skin. How long have you known? She asked me, her voice hollow. Dad told me when I was 25, when he officially established my full trustee authority. And you never said anything. Never even hinted. Just let us think. Her voice broke completely. Let you think what? I kept my tone calm. That you could control me? That I was incompetent? That I needed your $5,000 allowances and assisted living facilities? I paused. You orchestrated a psychiatric evaluation to have me declared mentally unfit. You planned to institutionalize me. You did all of this for money that was never yours to begin with. Jennifer's hands shook. We're family. You can't cut us off. Actually, Victoria said she can. However, Mr. Mitchell did establish provisions. The domestic accounts provide annual distributions of $250,000 each, subject to the trustee's approval. Subject to her approval? Jennifer's voice cracked. The trust was designed to prevent exactly this scenario. Mom's voice was small. What happens now? Now you receive your annual distributions as Dad intended, $250,000 each. You'll sign documents acknowledging the trust structure and withdrawing the conservatorship petition. And if we don't? Jennifer asked. Then you get nothing. Martin slid documents across the table. These need to be signed today. Once complete, the first distributions will be processed within 30 days. Jennifer picked up the pen with trembling hands. Mom stared at the papers, tears sliding down her face. You spent all this energy trying to prove I couldn't manage money. But Dad trusted me with $500 million 15 years ago, and I never told anyone, never flaunted it. Maybe that's exactly why he knew I was the right person. After they left, Martin gathered his papers. Your father would be proud. He knew Jennifer would try something eventually. That's why he built in so many protections. What will you do now? I thought about my studio apartment, my old Honda, my quiet life everyone had mistaken for failure. Nothing different. That's the point. My phone buzzed. Jennifer, we need to talk about the allowance amount. I deleted it. Another text from Mom. Please call me. We can work this out. I turned off my phone and took the elevator down. My Honda started on the 3rd try. I stopped at my regular grocery store. Hey, how was your day? Marcus, the cashier, asked. Interesting. Very interesting. That evening in my studio apartment, I opened my laptop. The Singapore dashboard showed the familiar numbers, $470 million. I'd never touched the principal. The interest went to scholarship funds, medical research grants, and organizations Dad had cared about. Anonymous donations that didn't require recognition. My phone powered back on, buzzing with messages. Jennifer, Mom, even cousins I barely knew. Everyone suddenly interested in family relationships. I blocked them all except Martin's number. He'd sent one message. Your father's letter had a postscript for you. I'll mail it. It arrived 3 days later. If you're reading this, it means Jennifer tried exactly what I feared. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, but I'm not sorry I trusted you. You were always the one who understood that money is just a tool, not a scoreboard. Use it wisely, kid. Use it well. And never let anyone make you feel small for refusing to play their games. Love, Dad. I folded the letter and placed it in my desk drawer next to the trust documents and account statements. They'd wanted to declare me incompetent. They'd wanted to control my life. Instead, they discovered they'd been living on my charity all along. My phone buzzed. Jennifer, $250,000 barely covers our expenses. Please? I typed. Dad thought it was enough. I agree. Then I blocked her number and made dinner in my small kitchen. Outside my window, Los Angeles glittered with ambition and desperation, people climbing over each other for success they thought would make them happy. I was happy with my 10-year-old Honda, my studio apartment, and my $500 million that nobody knew about. Dad had been right all along. The real incompetence was thinking money could make you more than who you already were.